Lucky American coins. Imagine reaching into your pocket, opening an old coin jar, searching through a roll of pennies, or simply looking at the loose change sitting on your desk, and suddenly noticing a tiny 1-cent coin dated 2016 with a small letter D beneath the date. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary modern penny, the kind of coin most people spend without a second thought. But what if that little 2016 D Lincoln cent is not ordinary? What if it contains a genuine minting error? What if the unusual feature you see was created inside the United States Mint during the complicated process of producing billions of coins? And what if that mistake transformed a 1-cent piece into a collectible that could attract the attention of serious coin collectors, error specialists, dealers, and professional grading companies around the world? The 2016 D Lincoln cent is an interesting modern American coin because it belongs to one of the longest-running coin designs in United States history. It carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield design on the reverse. It was produced at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mint mark located beneath the date. The coin has a face value of exactly 1 cent, but its collectible value can be higher depending on condition, rarity, variety, and especially whether the coin has a genuine mint-made error. The first thing that must be understood about this coin is the difference between a normal 2016 D Lincoln cent and a true error coin. Millions and billions of coins are manufactured every year, and most are struck correctly. A coin can become interesting to collectors for many different reasons, but not every unusual-looking coin is a valuable error. Damage that happens after the coin leaves the mint is generally considered post-mint damage rather than a mint error. Scratches, dents, discoloration, corrosion, environmental damage, machine damage, and alterations performed by individuals can make a coin look strange, but these conditions do not necessarily create numismatic value. A genuine mint error is different. It is a mistake that occurs during the manufacturing process at the mint. Errors can happen when planchets are prepared, when dies are installed, when coins are struck, or when a coin moves through the production system. Some errors are dramatic and immediately recognizable. Others are subtle and require magnification, careful comparison, weighing, measuring, and professional examination. The 2016 D Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint in enormous quantities. According to PCGS Coin Facts, approximately 4,420,400,000 examples were produced. That huge mintage means that an ordinary circulated 2016 D penny is not inherently rare. It is a modern coin that can still be found in circulation, and in large numbers of uncirculated examples. However, high-grade coins and genuine errors can create an entirely different collecting story. The standard 2016 D Lincoln cent weighs approximately 2.50 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. It is made from copper-plated zinc, not the traditional 95% copper composition used for many earlier Lincoln cents. The edge is plain. These basic specifications are important because weight and dimensions can sometimes help identify unusual pieces. For example, if someone discovers a 2016 D cent that weighs significantly different from the expected 2.50 grams, that could be a reason to investigate further. However, weight alone does not prove that a coin is a valuable error. A coin may lose weight because of damage, corrosion, or environmental exposure. It may gain weight because of dirt, deposits, or foreign material. The most important question is whether the difference can be explained by a legitimate mint production error. The 2016 D Lincoln cent features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. Lincoln faces toward the right, following the tradition established when the Lincoln cent was introduced in 1909. Above his portrait appears the inscription Liberty. The date 2016 appears in front of his portrait, while the D mint mark below the date identifies the Denver Mint as the facility where the coin was struck. The reverse design is equally significant. Since 2010, Lincoln cents have featured the Union Shield reverse, a design created to symbolize the United States as a unified nation. The shield contains 13 vertical stripes representing the original colonies, while a horizontal banner crosses the shield and carries the motto E pluribus unum. Above the shield is the inscription United States of America, while 1 cent appears below. The word liberty and the date on the obverse connect the modern coin to the historical tradition of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln cent itself has an extraordinary history. The original Lincoln cent was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The obverse portrait was designed by Victor David Brenner, and the Lincoln cent became the first regular United States circulating coin to feature a real historical person. Over the decades, the reverse design changed several times, but Lincoln's portrait remained a central part of American coinage. By 2016, the Lincoln cent had already passed through more than a century of American history. It had survived wars, economic crises, technological changes, changes in metal composition, and multiple redesigns. The 2016 D coin therefore represents a modern chapter in a very old numismatic story. The phrase 2016 D penny era worth $173 million is the type of claim that often appears in viral coin videos and sensational online posts. Such claims can attract attention, but collectors should always separate entertainment from documented numismatic evidence. There is no reliable auction record establishing a 2016 D Lincoln cent era selling for $173 million. The known PCGS auction record for the normal 2016 D Shield cent is $1,550 for an MS-68 road example, with the recorded sale dated August 27, 2018. That is a substantial amount for a modern 1 cent coin, but it is nowhere near $173 million. This distinction is extremely important because the value of a coin is not determined simply by a number written in a social media post or YouTube title. Coin values are established through a combination of market evidence, auction results, rarity, condition, authenticity, collector demand, and the significance of the era or variety. If a 2016 D penny has a genuine major error, it may be much more valuable than a normal example. The exact value would depend entirely on what the error is. A dramatic off-center strike, a wrong planchette error, a broad strike, a major clipped planchette, a die cap, a double strike, a missing design element caused by a die problem, or another unusual mint error could attract collectors. But even then, the value must be determined individually. One of the most important potential discoveries would be an off-center strike. An off-center coin occurs when the planchette is not properly centered between the dies at the moment of striking. The resulting design is shifted toward one side, and part of the coin may have a blank crescent-shaped area where the design was not struck. The greater the degree of off-center striking, the more dramatic the appearance can become. However, not every off-center coin is equally valuable. A coin that is only slightly misaligned may have a relatively modest premium, while a dramatic off-center strike that retains the full date and mint mark can be much more desirable. Collectors often prefer errors where the date and mint mark remain visible because these features allow the coin to be identified easily. A 2016 D cent with a dramatic, authentic off-center strike could therefore be an exciting collectible. But the coin would still need to be examined carefully. The shape of the blank area, the positioning of the design, the rim characteristics, the metal flow, and other physical evidence can help determine whether the coin was genuinely struck off-center at the mint. Another possible error is a double strike. A double-struck coin is struck more than once, and the second strike occurs after the coin has moved or shifted. This can produce overlapping images, distorted lettering, duplicated design elements, or unusual shapes. The more dramatic the second strike, the more visually impressive the error may be. A double strike can be particularly fascinating because it provides physical evidence of the minting process. The coin itself becomes a record of what happened inside the coining press. Collectors who specialize in errors often study the exact sequence of strikes to understand how the error occurred. A broad strike is another possible error. A broad strike can happen when the collar that normally restrains the planchette is not functioning correctly or is absent during the striking process. The coin may expand beyond the normal diameter and lose some of the normal rim characteristics. A genuine broad strike can be collectible, especially when the error is clear and the coin remains in attractive condition. A clipped planchette is another type of error that can be valuable. This occurs when a planchette is improperly punched from the metal strip, creating a missing section. The resulting coin may have a curved or straight missing area. A genuine clipped planchette often displays specific characteristics that distinguish it from a coin that was damaged after leaving the mint. One of the most famous categories of errors involves wrong planchets. A coin may occasionally be struck on a planchette intended for another denomination. Such errors can be extremely interesting because the wrong metal, wrong weight, or wrong size can reveal that the coin was struck using an incorrect blank. However, claims involving wrong planchets require careful authentication. A 2016 D penny that weighs less than expected is not automatically a rare wrong planchette error. The coin could have been damaged, altered, or exposed to environmental conditions. Professional examination is particularly important when a potentially valuable error is suspected. Another important category involves die errors and die varieties. The dies used to strike coins are metal tools engraved with the design. Over time, dies can develop cracks, chips, breaks, or other abnormalities. A die crack can appear as a raised line on the finished coin. A die break can create a larger raised area where part of the die has broken away. A cud is a type of major die break that can produce a large raised area connected to the rim. Cuds can be attractive to error collectors because they are usually easy to see and demonstrate that part of the die itself failed during production. A die chip is another possibility. A small piece of the die may break away, leaving a raised area on the coin. Some die chips are common and minor, while others may be more dramatic and collectible. The difference between a die variety and a mint error can sometimes become complicated. A double die, for example, occurs during the die-making process, and is a variety created before the coins are struck. Machine doubling, on the other hand, can occur during the striking process, and is usually much less valuable. Collectors must learn to distinguish genuine hub doubling from mechanical, or machine doubling. This is one reason that online claims about double dies should be approached carefully. A coin showing a slight shelf-like appearance around letters does not automatically represent a valuable double die. Genuine double dies usually have specific characteristics, including separation or spread in particular design elements. The 2016 D Lincoln cent is particularly interesting because it is modern enough that many examples remain available for study. Modern coins are often collected in high grades, and collectors can compare thousands of examples to identify unusual characteristics. Condition is a major factor in the value of any Lincoln cent. Professional grading services use a numerical scale to describe condition. Circulated coins may show wear, scratches, and loss of detail. Uncirculated coins have not experienced normal circulation wear, but they can still have marks from production, transportation, and storage. Modern Lincoln cents are commonly graded in mint state, often abbreviated Ms. A coin with an MS designation has no circulation wear, although it may have contact marks or other imperfections. The difference between MS65, MS66, MS67, and MS68 can be significant because tiny variations in surface quality can influence market value. Color designation also matters for copper-based coins, but the 2016 D cent is copper-plated zinc. Collectors may still encounter red, red-brown, or brown appearances depending on the coin's surfaces and preservation. The original bright red appearance can be desirable in modern coins, particularly when combined with a very high grade. PCGS lists the 2016 D Shield cent as having a 2.50 gram weight, a 19 mm diameter, copper-plated zinc composition, and a plain edge. The same database identifies Victor David Brenner and Lyndall Bass in connection with the coin's design history. These details are useful when evaluating a suspected 2016 D error. NGC also lists the 2016 D cent as a copper-plated zinc coin weighing 2.5 grams and measuring 19 millimeters. Its price guide demonstrates how dramatically value can change according to grade, with ordinary examples generally worth modest amounts, while exceptionally high-grade coins can command much larger premiums. The coin's design contains several symbols that collectors should understand. The D mint mark is one of the most important. It identifies Denver as the production facility. The word liberty represents a fundamental American ideal. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln connects the coin to one of the most influential presidents in United States history. On the reverse, e pluribus unum translates from Latin as out of many, one, expressing the idea of unity. The Union Shield reinforces that concept. The 2016 D cent is therefore much more than a piece of money worth 1 cent in face value. It is part of an enormous historical tradition that began more than a century earlier. Every coin carries evidence of the mint's production process, and when something goes wrong, that mistake can sometimes create a unique collectible. But the idea that every error coin is worth millions is incorrect. In reality, the market is much more selective. The majority of unusual-looking coins found in pocket change are either normal varieties, minor errors, or post-mint damage. Only a small percentage become highly valuable collectibles. This is why collectors should be careful when inspecting a 2016 D cent. The first step is to identify the coin correctly. Confirm the date. Confirm the D mint mark. Confirm that the coin is actually a Lincoln cent, and not a different denomination or token. Then examine both sides under good lighting. A basic digital scale can be useful. The expected weight is approximately 2.50 grams. If the coin weighs 2.40 grams or 2.60 grams, that difference alone does not establish an error. Modern scales can have measurement tolerances, and dirt or damage can influence results. A coin should be weighed several times using a reliable scale. The diameter can also be checked. The standard diameter is approximately 19 millimeters. A ruler is not precise enough for serious authentication, so a digital caliper may be more useful. However, measuring a coin incorrectly can also lead to confusion, especially if the coin has been damaged. The edge should be examined as well. A normal 2016 D Lincoln cent has a plain edge. Any unusual edge feature should be documented carefully. A missing section, abnormal thickness, or unusual metal exposure may justify further examination. Magnification can help reveal die cracks, die chips, doubling, or other features. A simple magnifying glass can be useful for initial inspection, while a microscope provides greater detail. Photographs taken under consistent lighting can also help compare the coin with known examples. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is cleaning coins. Cleaning a potentially valuable coin can permanently reduce its desirability. Harsh chemicals, polishing compounds, abrasive cloths, and household cleaners can damage the surfaces. If a coin appears unusual or potentially valuable, it is generally better to leave it in its existing condition and seek professional advice. A genuine mint error should ideally be authenticated by a respected third-party grading service. Professional certification can provide an independent assessment of authenticity and condition. For valuable error coins, certification can be especially important because the market contains many altered coins and coins that have been damaged intentionally to imitate errors. If someone discovers a 2016 D cent that appears to have a dramatic error, the safest approach is to document the coin without altering it. Photograph the obverse, reverse, and edge. Record the weight. Measure the diameter. Note any unusual characteristics. Compare the coin with known examples, and then consider submitting it to a professional grading service. The most important thing is to understand that value depends on the specific era. A minor die chip might bring only a small premium. A significant die break could be worth more. A dramatic off-center strike could attract strong collector interest. A rare wrong planchette error could potentially be worth substantially more. A unique and spectacular mint error may bring a strong price at auction. But none of these categories automatically leads to a $173 million valuation. A $173 million price would be an extraordinary claim requiring extraordinary evidence. Such a price would almost certainly become a major event in the numismatic world, with extensive documentation, auction records, professional authentication, and widespread coverage. No reliable evidence currently supports the claim that a 2016 D Lincoln cent has sold for $173 million. This does not make the 2016 D penny boring. In fact, the opposite is true. Modern coins provide collectors with an opportunity to search through everyday money for unusual pieces. The excitement comes from the possibility of discovering something that most people overlook. Imagine a collector receiving a handful of pennies as change. Most are immediately ignored. But one coin catches the light differently. The date reads 2016. Beneath the date is AD. The coin appears to have a strange shape. One side seems shifted. The lettering looks unusual. Perhaps the rim is missing on one side. The collector weighs the coin and discovers that the measurement is different from the normal standard. Suddenly, an ordinary penny becomes a mystery. Was it damaged after leaving the mint? Was it struck incorrectly? Was it struck on the wrong planchette? Was it double struck? Was the die damaged? Or is the unusual feature simply an illusion caused by lighting? These questions are what make error collecting so fascinating. The history of the Lincoln cent is filled with famous errors. Some of the most valuable United States cents are famous because of dramatic mistakes involving metal composition or striking. PCGS highlights major Lincoln cent errors such as the 1943 bronze cents and 1944 steel cents, as well as famous double die varieties. These historic examples show why authentic mint errors can become extremely valuable, but they also demonstrate that the most famous high-value errors are generally rare and well documented. The 2016 D cent belongs to a very different era. It was produced in the billions rather than in extremely limited quantities. That means rarity must come from something unusual about the individual coin rather than simply from the date. For collectors, this distinction is crucial. A common date can become valuable if the individual specimen has a rare error. A rare date can be valuable even without an error. The 2016 D penny falls into the first category. The date itself is common, so a premium must come from condition, variety, or error. The coin's mintage of approximately 4.42 billion means that there are many examples available. That large production number makes the normal circulated coin inexpensive. However, the highest grades are more difficult to obtain because coins can develop marks during production and transportation. A coin can leave the mint in excellent condition and still receive contact marks from touching other coins. Bags, rolls, and handling can create small abrasions. Even a coin that looks perfect to the naked eye may receive a lower grade under professional examination. The highest quality examples can therefore become collectible. PCGS records an auction result of $1,550 for an MS-68 Road 2016 D Shield cent, demonstrating that even a common modern date can command a substantial premium in exceptional condition. But this is still a far cry from $173 million, and the result should not be interpreted as a typical value for all 2016 D cents. The difference between a normal coin and a valuable error is often enormous. A regular circulated 2016 D cent may be worth only its face value. A high-grade certified example may be worth several dollars or more. A dramatic authenticated error could be worth substantially more, depending on the exact characteristics. Collectors should also understand that online asking prices are not the same as realized prices. Anyone can list a coin online for $1 million, $10 million, or even $173 million. That does not mean anyone is willing to pay that amount. The true market value is better determined by completed sales, auction records, and credible price guides. This is one of the most important lessons for anyone producing coin content. A sensational headline can attract viewers, but accurate information builds long-term trust. Instead of telling viewers that every 2016 D penny could be worth $173 million, a responsible presentation can say that some genuine errors can carry significant premiums, and that collectors should learn how to identify and authenticate them. The phrase "worth big money" can still be used in a compelling way, as long as the discussion explains the difference between an ordinary example and a rare error. The real treasure is not the idea that every penny is secretly worth millions. The real treasure is discovering that a small mistake in the minting process can transform an ordinary object into an important collectible. A collector searching for a 2016 D error should pay particular attention to the date and mint mark. If a major error is present, retaining the date and D mint mark can make identification easier. A dramatic off-center strike that still shows 2016 D clearly may be especially interesting. The collector should also examine the rim. A normal coin has a consistent shape, while a striking error may create unusual expansion or deformation. The edge can reveal whether the coin was struck improperly. The surfaces should be examined for evidence of post-mint damage. For example, if someone intentionally bends a coin or strikes it with a tool, the resulting marks may look dramatic, but are not mint errors. A genuine error typically displays physical characteristics consistent with the minting process. This is why authentication is so important. The modern Lincoln cent has also become a subject of debate about production costs, metallic composition, and the future of the denomination. Over time, the United States has changed the composition of the cent in response to economic and manufacturing considerations. The 2016 D cent reflects the copper-plated zinc composition adopted for modern cents. The copper color can sometimes make people believe that the entire coin is made from copper. In reality, the core is zinc with a thin copper plating. This is one reason that damaged or exposed coins may show a different color where the plating has been removed. Collectors should be careful not to mistake exposed zinc for a rare wrong metal error. A coin that has lost some of its copper plating is not automatically a valuable mint error. Plating damage can occur during circulation or after the coin leaves the mint. Similarly, a penny that appears silver is not necessarily a rare off-metal strike. It could have been plated, chemically altered, or exposed to environmental conditions. The weight, dimensions, surface characteristics, and professional authentication are essential. The 2016 D cent is also interesting because the D mint mark is a small but important symbol. For a beginner, identifying mint marks is one of the easiest ways to start learning about United States coins. Different mints have produced coins throughout American history, and mint marks can sometimes dramatically affect rarity. The Denver Mint has a long history of producing circulating coinage. The D on the 2016 Lincoln cent identifies the Denver facility. For collectors, the mint mark is part of the coin's identity. The obverse portrait of Lincoln is another connection to American history. Lincoln's image has appeared on the cent since 1909, making the Lincoln cent one of the most recognizable American coins. The design has become so familiar that many people barely notice it, but the coin's history is remarkably deep. The reverse Union shield design introduced another chapter in the Lincoln cent story. The shield represents national unity, while e pluribus unum expresses the concept of many becoming one. These symbols give the modern center visual connection to the broader identity of the United States. When a collector examines a 2016 D penny, they are therefore looking at a small object that combines history, art, manufacturing, economics, and technology. The idea that a 1-cent coin could potentially become valuable is one of the reasons coin collecting remains popular. Coins are accessible. Almost everyone handles them. Unlike many collectibles, coins can still appear in everyday transactions. The possibility of finding a valuable error in circulation is real, but it is also rare. Most coins are normal. That is why education matters. A good collector learns the difference between errors and damage. They learn how to weigh coins. They learn how to identify mint marks. They study die varieties. They compare photographs. They consult professional references. They examine auction records. They understand that value is based on evidence rather than rumors. For the 2016 D Lincoln cent, this evidence shows a common modern issue with a large mintage. The normal coin is not a $173 million rarity. The documented market for normal high-grade examples is far lower. The PCGS auction record of $1,550 for an MS-68 road example provides a useful reference point, while NGC's data also illustrates the relationship between grade and value. However, if a collector finds a genuine and dramatic error, the story changes. Imagine a 2016 D cent struck dramatically off-center, with the date fully visible and the D mint mark clearly present. Such a coin could be much more interesting than a normal example. Now imagine a 2016 D cent struck twice, with the second strike producing a clearly visible overlapping design. That could also be highly collectible. Imagine a coin struck on the wrong planchette, with the wrong weight and metal composition confirmed by professional analysis. That could be an extraordinary discovery. The key word is confirmed. A coin is not valuable simply because someone claims it is rare. It becomes valuable when the characteristics are genuine, the error is recognized, and the collecting community is willing to pay for it. This is also why professional grading can matter. A certified coin carries the opinion of an independent grading company. Certification does not guarantee a specific selling price, but it can provide confidence that the coin has been examined and authenticated. For a suspected 2016 D error, the owner should avoid cleaning, polishing, drilling, bending, or otherwise modifying the coin. Even a seemingly harmless attempt to make the coin look better can destroy evidence of its original condition. A coin should ideally be stored safely in a holder that does not contain harmful materials. Excessive humidity and chemicals should be avoided. If the coin is valuable, professional conservation advice may be appropriate, but collectors should never attempt aggressive cleaning at home. Another important factor is provenance. If a coin has a documented history, that information can sometimes increase collector interest. A coin discovered in an original mint roll, for example, may have a different story from a coin that has circulated for years. However, provenance alone does not turn a common coin into a rare one. The 2016 D penny is also a reminder of how modern coin production differs from earlier periods. Technology has advanced considerably, and modern mint facilities produce enormous quantities of coins using sophisticated equipment. Yet mistakes still occur. Machines can malfunction. Dies can wear. Planches can be improperly prepared. Coins can become misaligned. Those mistakes are the source of the error collecting hobby. The most exciting discoveries often come from ordinary places. A coin jar. A bank roll. A pocket. An old collection. A forgotten box. A family inheritance. A dealer's inventory. A roll of coins purchased for face value. The thrill comes from the possibility that something overlooked by millions of people might be valuable to the right collector. But the collector must also be realistic. A normal 2016 D penny will not suddenly become worth $173 million. There is no credible market evidence supporting that valuation. If a video or social media post makes such a claim, viewers should ask for documentation. Where was the coin sold? Which auction house handled it? Who authenticated it? What was the grade? What was the exact error? Is there a public record? These questions protect collectors from misinformation. The same principle applies to any claimed value. A coin listed online for $100,000 is not necessarily a $100,000 coin. A coin listed for $173 million is not necessarily worth $173 million. The real market value is determined when a qualified buyer actually pays for the coin. For the 2016 D Lincoln cent, known market data places the normal high-grade coin in a much more realistic range. NGC's guide has historically shown low values for ordinary examples and higher values for exceptional grades, while PCGS records the MS-68 road auction result at $1,550. These figures demonstrate how condition can matter, but they do not support the sensational $173 million claim. This makes the genuine error story even more interesting. Rather than claiming that every 2016 D penny is a hidden fortune, collectors can focus on the actual possibilities. Look for dramatic abnormalities. Look for missing portions caused by genuine striking errors. Look for major off-center strikes. Look for clear multiple strikes. Look for unusual planches. Look for major die breaks. Look for authenticated varieties. But always verify. A collector who finds an unusual 2016 D penny should take clear photographs of both sides. The photos should be taken in good lighting without excessive glare. The coin should be photographed from multiple angles if the error involves the edge or shape. Next, weigh the coin. Record the exact weight to 2 decimal places if possible. Measure the diameter. Examine the edge. Compare the coin to a normal 2016 D cent. If the coin appears significantly unusual, seek professional advice. The most important thing is not to become emotionally attached to a price before the coin has been authenticated. It is easy to see a strange coin and imagine a fortune. The reality is that authentication comes first and valuation comes second. The 2016 D Lincoln cent is a fascinating example of how modern American coinage can intersect with the world of error collecting. It has a large mintage, a familiar design, a 2.50-gram copper-plated zinc composition, and a 19mm diameter. It is a common coin in its normal form, but individual examples with genuine errors or exceptional grades can become much more interesting. The D mint mark tells us that the coin was produced at Denver. The date tells us that it was made in 2016. Lincoln's portrait connects it to more than a century of American history. The Union Shield reverse connects the modern cent to the national theme of unity. And the possibility of a mint error adds another layer to the story. Perhaps the most important lesson from this coin is that value is not always visible at first glance. A 1-cent coin can look ordinary, but contain a feature that makes it desirable. At the same time, a coin that looks unusual may turn out to be damaged and worth little more than face value. That uncertainty is what makes the hobby exciting. The collector who learns to identify genuine errors has an advantage. They do not simply search for coins that look strange. They search for coins that show evidence of specific minting mistakes. That is the difference between casual searching and serious numismatics. If you are examining a 2016 D penny today, start with the basics. Confirm the date. Confirm the D mint mark. Check the weight. Check the diameter. Examine the edge. Study the surfaces. Look for evidence of striking errors. Compare your coin to trusted references. If something truly unusual appears, have it professionally evaluated. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not scratch it. Do not try to make the error more dramatic. Do not trust a viral valuation without evidence. And do not assume that every unusual mark is a mint error. The real value of the 2016 Lincoln cent comes from the combination of rarity, authenticity, condition, and collector demand. A normal example may be worth only face value in circulation. A superb certified example may command a premium. A genuine major mint error may be worth substantially more. But the exact amount depends on the individual coin and the market at the time it is sold. The $173 million figure should therefore be treated as a sensational claim rather than a documented market value. There is no credible evidence that a 2016 Lincoln cent has achieved such a price. The documented record for a normal 2016 Shield cent is dramatically lower, with PCGS reporting $1,550 for an MS-68 road example. That correction does not make the coin less interesting. It makes the story more realistic and, in many ways, more educational. The true excitement is in the search. Imagine the possibility that somewhere, perhaps in an old collection, or a forgotten coin jar, there is a 2016 cent with a genuine mint error that has not yet been recognized. Perhaps the error is dramatic. Perhaps it is subtle. Perhaps it is a major off-center strike. Perhaps it is a double strike. Perhaps it is a wrong planchette error. Perhaps it is a rare die break that experts have not yet documented. Finding such a coin would be exciting not because a random internet post assigned it a gigantic price, but because the coin itself would represent a real and unusual event in the history of American coin production. Every mint error is a tiny historical accident frozen in metal. The coin was supposed to be struck one way, but something went wrong. The planchette moved. The die shifted. The press struck the coin twice. The wrong blank entered the production line. A piece of the die broke. A production problem escaped inspection. And the resulting coin survived. That is the story that makes error coins fascinating. The 2016 Lincoln cent also teaches us about the importance of preservation. Because modern cents are made with copper plating over a zinc core, they can be vulnerable to damage if the plating is compromised. Exposure to moisture can lead to corrosion and discoloration. Handling the coin with dirty or oily hands can leave residue on the surface. Collectors should therefore handle valuable coins carefully, preferably by their edges. Fingerprints can sometimes become permanent, particularly on surfaces that are highly sensitive or already damaged. Storage is also important. A coin that is rare but poorly preserved may be worth less than a similar coin in excellent condition. This is why collectors often use inert holders and controlled environments. If a 2016 cent appears to be a high-grade coin, its surfaces should be protected. If it is a suspected error, its original condition should be preserved even more carefully. Another important lesson is that rarity and value are not always the same thing. A coin can be rare but unpopular, and therefore have limited market value. A coin can be relatively common, but highly desirable because of a famous variety or strong collector demand. The market responds to what collectors want. A dramatic, visually obvious error often attracts attention because it can be understood immediately. A tiny technical variety may be rare, but appeal only to specialists. This is why error collecting has such a broad range. Some collectors enjoy dramatic errors. Others specialize in doubled dies. Others collect die breaks. Others search for wrong planchette strikes. Others collect clipped planchets. Others focus on high-grade modern coins. The 2016 D cent can appeal to many of these collectors depending on the characteristics of the individual specimen. The modern Lincoln cent series is especially accessible because the coins are affordable and widely available. A beginner does not need a huge budget to begin searching. The collector can start by examining coins already in circulation. The most valuable lesson is patience. Do not expect to find a fortune in every roll. Do not become discouraged when most coins are ordinary. The process of searching teaches you how to recognize what is unusual. Over time, your eyes become trained. You begin to notice lettering alignment. You recognize normal die characteristics. You understand how a normal rim should appear. You learn the correct weight and dimensions. You become familiar with common forms of damage. Eventually, you can look at a coin and immediately recognize when something is genuinely different. That knowledge is more valuable than any single viral claim. The 2016 D Lincoln cent is therefore a perfect example of why collectors should combine enthusiasm with research. It is a common modern coin, but common coins can still contain uncommon mistakes. Its enormous mintage does not eliminate the possibility of valuable errors. It simply means that the date itself is not rare. The normal specifications are straightforward. The coin weighs approximately 2.50 grams. It measures 19 millimeters. It is made from copper-plated zinc. It has a plain edge. It carries Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Union shield on the reverse. The D mint mark identifies Denver. The ordinary coin may be worth very little beyond its 1 cent face value, particularly in circulated condition. The exceptional coin is a different story. An MS-68 road example has already demonstrated that collectors can pay significantly more for exceptional preservation. The recorded $1,550 auction result shows that high-grade modern Lincoln cents can attract serious interest. But this should not be confused with the value of a typical circulated 2016 D cent. If an authenticated major error were discovered, the market could be stronger. But the exact price would have to be determined by the specific error and by actual sales. This is why responsible coin collecting content should focus on facts. A viewer who hears that a penny is worth $173 million may search through thousands of coins expecting to become wealthy. When they find nothing, they may become frustrated. A better approach is to teach them what to look for. Teach them the weight. Teach them the composition. Teach them the design. Teach them the mint mark. Teach them the difference between damage and error. Teach them about grading. Teach them about authentication. Teach them about auction records. Then let the discovery speak for itself. Perhaps one day, someone will find a remarkable 2016 D error that becomes famous. If that happens, its value will be determined by the evidence, authentication, rarity, and market demand. Until then, the responsible current valuation of a normal 2016 D Lincoln cent remains far below $173 million, while genuine errors and exceptional grades can carry premiums depending on their individual characteristics. The known PCGS auction record for the standard issue is $1,550 in MS-68 road, and NGC's published guide likewise demonstrates that grade has a major effect on value. The most exciting part of coin collecting is that you never know what you might discover. A penny that looks ordinary today could become the subject of an investigation tomorrow. A strange shape could be damage. Or it could be an error. A strange weight could be corrosion. Or it could be a wrong planchet. A doubled-looking date could be machine doubling. Or it could be a genuine doubled die. The answer lies in careful examination. The 2016 D Lincoln cent is not a $173 million coin based on any credible documented sale. But it is still a coin worth understanding. It is part of the Lincoln cent's remarkable history. It represents modern American mint production. It carries symbols of liberty and unity. It was produced at the Denver Mint in enormous numbers. And among those billions of coins, the occasional production error may create something unusual enough to interest collectors. That is the real story. The value of a coin is not created by exaggeration. It is created by rarity, authenticity, condition, history, and demand. So the next time you see a 2016 Lincoln cent, do not immediately throw it into a pile of ordinary pennies. Take a moment to look at it. Check the date. Look for the D, examine Lincoln's portrait. Study the Union shield. Inspect the rim. Check the edge. If something looks unusual, investigate it. Maybe it is nothing. Maybe it is a minor variety. Maybe it is damage. Or maybe, just maybe, it is a genuine mint error. And that possibility is exactly why millions of collectors continue searching through coins every day. The 2016 Lincoln cent may not be the $173 million treasure that sensational headlines sometimes claim, but it remains an excellent example of the excitement of modern coin collecting. Its ordinary value is modest, its high-grade examples can be collectible, and a genuine major error could make an individual specimen far more desirable. The smartest collector is not the person who believes every incredible price claim. The smartest collector is the person who knows how to verify the coin. The smartest collector looks for evidence. The smartest collector understands that the difference between a 1-cent coin and a valuable collectible can sometimes be hidden in a tiny detail. And sometimes, that tiny detail is the reason a coin survives for generations. The 2016 Lincoln cent is a small piece of copper-plated zinc, only 19 millimeters across and weighing approximately 2.50 grams, yet it carries more than a denomination. It carries the image of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most important figures in American history. It carries the word liberty. It carries the Union shield. It carries E pluribus unum. It carries the identity of the Denver Mint through the D mint mark. And if the coin contains a genuine manufacturing error, it may also carry a record of something that went wrong inside the mint. That tiny mistake can become a story. That story can become a collectible. And that collectible can become part of numismatic history. But the truth must always come first. There is no verified evidence supporting a current market value of $173 million for a 2016 Lincoln cent error. The documented market evidence for normal 2016 cents is much lower, while genuine major errors must be evaluated individually. The known high-grade auction record cited by PCGS is $1,550 for an MS-68 road example, and that is the kind of evidence collectors should examine when determining realistic market value. So if you have a 2016 penny in your collection, do not assume that it is worth a fortune simply because it has an unusual appearance. Instead, learn what makes a real error. Learn the specifications. Learn the design. Learn the history. Learn how to distinguish mint errors from post-mint damage. Learn how professional grading works. And most importantly, learn to trust documented evidence. The search for valuable coins is not only about money. It is about discovery. It is about history. It is about craftsmanship. It is about mistakes. It is about the fascinating fact that billions of tiny objects can be produced by machines, yet occasionally one of them escapes the normal process and becomes something completely different. That is the magic of error collecting. And that is why the 2016 Lincoln cent deserves a closer look.